Good afternoon, everybody. It is December 28th, 2021. We are here in Midtown Manhattan at the one and only Stephen Schwarzman building, the New York Public Library. And we're going to be walking around for about 1 hour tonight. Well, we just got a brand new piece of economic news. The S&P CORELOGIC CASE-SHILLer index reported a 19.1% annualized increase in the price of homes. And this index covers all 9 U.S. Census divisions, with the 10-city composite annualized increase coming in at 17.1%. This is down from 17.9% the previous month. But for the entire year, to have home prices on average rise 19.1% is pretty concerning. So we'll talk about that and more tonight on the stream. I see By the Book here. What's up, By the Book? Good evening. I hope you're well, having a good Tuesday. Sanjeev is here. This is good evening, Tom. What's up, Sanjeev? Good to see you. Jonathan Richards is here. Hope you're well. Jonathan, NNB045 says, hope you had a great day, Tom. Vinny Castellano, Hassan Terrell, welcome everybody. And I see Otto and Mike. What's up, Otto? What's up, Mike? Hope you're well. So we'll get started. We'll walk downtown today towards the Hudson Yards. Hassan says, did you have a good Christmas? I did have a good Christmas, Hassan. What about you? Hope you had a good one with your family and friends. New York City did not have a white Christmas this year, although it rarely does. Hey, I see the one and only Grant. Grant is here, says, hey, Tom. Juan Paulo says, good evening, Tom. Or Jose Paulo, good to see you, Jose. Sally says, hi, Tom. And we have Vinny Castellano. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're well. So we're overlooking Fifth Avenue now. So we're standing right at the main Fifth Avenue New York Public Library on the corner of West 42nd Street and Fifth Avenue. I see Hunter Butler is joining us. What's up, Hunter? Good to see you. So Hunter, I think Hunter Butler may actually be moving from California to New York. So I think that should be pretty good. So I'm happy and excited for your move. Flex Streams is breaking news. John Madden died today at 85. Wow. Good to see you, Flex Stream. Penelope's here. Says, hi, Tom. I just watched the replay of your last stream and enjoyed it. Penelope is joining us from the one and only Tennessee. Good to see you. Destructionist says, happy Tuesday. It sure looks warm there. Negative 30 degrees Celsius and negative 22 Fahrenheit. We just had the vortex to Seattle. Wow, that's crazy, Destructionist. That is definitely much too cold for me. I don't think I could ever handle that type of weather. Hey, Two Wheel Pines is here. Good to see you, Two Wheel Pines. Hope you're well. Wonder Bread says, how's it going, my man from Canada? It's going really well. It was a very busy day, although I was not expecting a busy day. Because usually in sales, once it hits Christmas Eve, things really fall off a cliff because the main decision makers are all out of the office and they usually don't come back until after the new year. But today was a busy one. Today was a really busy day. And I see Alan Wilson. What's up, Alan? Good to see you. It says, good evening, everyone. If we keep getting earlier and earlier, pretty soon we will see the sunset. Maybe, yeah. So we usually start the streams. What time do we usually start, Alan? Maybe about, I'd say 8 o'clock we usually start. Kobo Bunny is here, says, hey, Tom, has the weather improved at all yet? So Kobo Bunny, it was raining briefly yesterday, but I think overall today was a pretty good day. There was no rain. At least when I've been at it, it wasn't raining today, but good to see you. Santa Monica Rodriguez says, hello, just got off of work. Happy to see you on a little bit earlier today. Good to see you, Santa Monica Rodriguez. Hope you're having a great day. So the topic for tonight's stream, we're going to be talking about home prices in America. And that seems to be the industry trend of the year, or ever since the pandemic started, that home prices, especially single-family homes, have just been going on a tear. And it hasn't really been only in select markets. It's really been all across the United States. But the vast majority of the growth, or the hyper growth areas, have really been in the south and the southeast. So places like Phoenix, Miami, Florida, and Tampa. Hey, Felipe's here. Good to see you, Felipe. Hope you had a good day today. We are outside of the New York Public Library. And I see British Gray says, good evening and happy Tuesday, Tom. I hope that your day was a success. You too, British Gray. So speaking of Tampa, Florida, British Gray is joining us from the one and only Tampa, Florida. Joe Hernandez is here. Says, hey, Tom and everybody. What's up, Joe? Hope you're well. Joe Hernandez. I think Joe is joining us from Orlando, Florida. And I see Sabrina Fair says, hey, Tom. What's up, Sabrina? So let's cross the street here. And we'll be able to see a pretty good view looking down Fifth Avenue. Flex Stream says the coldest temperature I ever experienced was negative 45 degrees Fahrenheit in Alaska. Wow. That sounds like hell. Destructionist says the air literally hurts your face. Feeling way too cold. Destructionist is joining us from Canada. Charlie Richardson is here, says hi, Tom. What's going on, Charlie? Penelope says growth in real estate in Tennessee is really crazy as well. Yeah, Penelope, Tennessee, especially Nashville, is a very, very hot real estate market. It seems to be a lot of people are moving to Tennessee. Joe Hernandez says Central Florida is exploding with growth as well. Charlie Richardson, what's going on? Good to see you, Charlie. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. And Enzo is here, says hello, Tom. One more night. So I've noticed a ton more foot traffic in the city ever since the holidays started, which I think is a good sign overall. Sabrina Ferris says Tennessee is generally open, right? That makes sense. Yeah, so I'm not sure about what the policies are in Tennessee, but, you know, if I had to speculate, I would assume, and one should never assume, but I definitely probably would assume that Tennessee is obviously more open than some of the northern states. I believe actually New York, well, as we were talking about yesterday, in New York City, it's going to be a tapered back or a dialed back New Year's celebration, I think limited to 15,000 people. As well as many of the Broadway shows are now closed down for the year. Hey, Dutchman is here. What's up, Dutchman? Says the housing market prices in Phoenix have soared to the places where younger Arizona natives cannot afford a home. Yeah, that's been a big problem. And I think Dutchman makes a really good point, where a lot of the people who were born and raised in these local housing markets, they're being priced out of the market, right? We're seeing massive migrations from states like California and New York to places like Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, as well as the Carolinas. North Carolina, South Carolina has seen amazing growth, as well as select markets in Atlanta, Georgia, and neighboring areas. Destructionist says, Tom, when are you headed back to Miami, Florida? I think I'm going to head back on the 4th. I think the 4th is when I'll head back. Hey, Jose says, this is where I work. Beautiful area. This is Madison Avenue and West or East 40th Street in Madison. Great location. Awesome location. Flex Stream says, I was planning on moving to Port St. Lucie last year, but the real estate market went completely out of control. Yeah, so Port St. Lucie, that is in Florida, I believe, right, Flex Stream? Tejada says, great article yesterday. Thank you, Tejada, for reading. I appreciate it. Mars says, will a housing crash happen? So I don't think so. as we look at the One Vanderbilt building right here. This is the brand new One Vanderbilt. Looks great. There's been a lot of speculation about, is there going to be a big housing crash? And I don't think so. I think there's, you see a lot of the, I would say, very fear-inducing YouTube videos out there that are calling for a big housing crash. But if we look at the data, a lot of these loans or these mortgages have very strong underwriting practices. And people have been putting sizable down payments, if not coming up with all cash offers. So really, in order to have a housing crash, you need to have, number one, interest rates go up significantly, or number two, you need a lot of people to default on their mortgages at the same time. And I don't really see either of those happening. What about you guys? Hey, Savannah's here. It says confetti today at Times Square. What's up, Savannah? Good to see you. Hope you had a good holiday. RJ says, hola from Colorado, Tom. Hope you are well. Always fantastic to see you, RJ. I trust you're well. Flexstream says Port St. Lucie is about 45 minutes north of West Palm Beach. Yes, so Flexstream, I'm familiar with Palm Beach. A lot of hedge funds and money managers are actually moving, not their entire office, but satellite offices down there. Hey, the one and only ABX girl is here from the Bronx. How are you, the ABX girl? We are here on East 40th Street and Park Avenue. We never really come over here, so I think it'll be kind of cool to walk around this area. Savannah says, good to see you too, Tom. Hey, Gary Ting says, if the housing crash, everyone will buy it via crypto using NFTs. That's funny. Gary, that's hilarious. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, did anybody see the news story that came out that I believe a piece of virtual real estate in the metaverse sold for millions of dollars, and I believe somebody bought a piece of virtual real estate near Snoop Dogg in the metaverse, as crazy as that sounds. But everybody, we are looking directly at the on-ramp to Grand Central Terminal. Hey, Coolon516 is in the last crash, the mortgages were not written well, and people's debt-to-income ratio is really high. So I don't think there'll be another crash. Yeah, I think what Cool-Aunt516 just said is spot on. One of the key indicators we need to look for in the housing market is just how well these mortgages are being underwritten, right? So if you work at a bank, there's a whole underwriting department, and the risk management departments are super, super tight for risk mitigation, especially with new protocols and procedures that were put in place due to the 2008 global financial crisis. The ABX girl says, I think it depends on the job market versus salaries. Hey, Marilyn Ringle's here. What's up, Marilyn? Good to see you. Sabrina Fair says, I thought Miami was close to Palm Beach. I think it's relatively close, but not super, super close. But this is the MetLife building as well as the One Vanderbilt. Hey, Shay is here. Says, greetings from San Francisco. Tom, looks beautiful there. What's up, Shay? Good to see you. And we have the one and only, the best moderator in the world from Oklahoma, Lupe. Good to see you, Lupe. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday. Hey, Melee is here. What's up, Melee? Good to see you. Cool-On516 is disclosure. I read credit bureau reports for 2 years before the crash. I could see it coming. Yeah, that's crazy. I could only imagine sort of the egregious activity that was happening on Wall Street in the years leading up to the 2007-2008 financial crisis. A lot of these loans, as Cool-Aunt516 is saying, were underwritten really poorly. They weren't even checking people's incomes. And a lot of the mortgages had adjustable rates or teaser rates. So when interest rates went up, a lot of borrowers were hit with balloon payments, causing massive defaults. Lupe says, Tom, what a compliment. Hope your holidays are well. Lupe, my holidays are really well. It's good to be back in New York, seeing the family, and I hope the same for you. Hey, coffee, travel, food, fashion, thank you so much for the support. I really do appreciate it very much. And thank you for joining the stream tonight. Motto Espresso. Never been here. Everybody, we have Gigi NYC says, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Gigi. Good to see you. Jose says, One Vanderbilt is a beautiful building. I agree. Two Wheel Freedom says, student loan asset-backed securities slabs have become the new collateral in place of subprime mortgages. Yeah, that is definitely a big problem. So Two Wheel Freedom, we actually were talking about that yesterday. So it's very funny that you mentioned that, but I think you're spot on. We were talking about the big problem of governments getting in the business of backing these student loans. And that's why the prices of colleges are so egregiously expensive, is because the government will back the student loans. So no more government-backed or government-subsidized student loans. We got to get the government out of the loan business. And then we should have some free market capitalism back in the price of college. And hopefully we'll get some price discovery back. But very good observation. Thank you for saying that. It seems that Wall Street, if they can securitize something, they will. So this is Lexington Avenue. We very rarely come across Lexington Avenue. But I wanted to come over here to show everybody the Chrysler Building. And the Chrysler Building looks beautiful tonight. Hey, Pocha says, hi, Tom. How are you? Good to see you. Alg says, hello, I miss New York City. You got to come back. Good to see you, Al. Sabrina Fair says the Chrysler Building is gorgeous. The ABX girl says, I was offered that type of mortgage. Nope. Yeah, I don't understand. So the ABX girl, and you probably have a lot more insight into this than I do. Because you've actually worked at, the large investment banks. The vast majority of the teaser rates of the adjustable rate mortgages that were written during that time, I would assume a lot of people or a lot of consumers didn't even know what they were signing. Do you think that's a fair statement? Is that a fair assessment to say? Because I don't understand why anybody in their right mind would sign a mortgage with an adjustable rate. So that leaves me to believe that there was probably a lot of nefarious activity going on Wall Street. A lot of predatory lending practices. So here's another look at the Chrysler Building. Hey, Cosmo's here. What's up, Cosmo? Marilyn Ringo says, I saw a fascinating documentary today about Amazon and their potential monopoly in retail. Ooh, can you drop a link to that, Marilyn Ringo? That'd be pretty cool to see. RR Walks says, New York, always have a good weather, Tom. Good to see you, RR Walks. Hope you're well. Hey, Jefferson Lopez is here from Brazil. Everybody, Ruby Falcone is here. What's up, Ruby? This is absolutely beautiful night. Good evening, Tom, mods, and all. Good to see you, Ruby. Hope you had a great Christmas, good holiday. I wish you a very... April is here. Says, hi, Tom. What's up, April? Tejada says, because of the big index companies driving S&P and other indices, would you say it is having an illusionary optimism? Yeah, so we talked about that a little bit, but I think, over the past couple weeks, we've actually been seeing breadth return to the market. So as you know, really the main 5 companies in the S&P 500 have been really providing the most support to the indices, but we're actually starting to see more broader participation, which is a good thing. Nicholas Prasad is here, says, good night, Tom. Good to see you, Nicholas. Gerardo Cruz says, hey, Tom, good evening, brother. I'm back for more Recommended any good hotels for first-time visitors. So I don't recommend any hotels. I would recommend an Airbnb. I think you're actually going to find some pretty cool deals and some pretty interesting places on Airbnb. But I'm not sure how comfortable you are with Airbnb. Everybody, we have JK in the house saying futures are green. Yeah, the markets gave back a little bit, but I think that's normal. I had some people emailing me in a panic saying the markets are down when we just hit new all-time record highs yesterday. So everybody, this is directly across the street from the Chrysler building. Sweet Bee Studios, is so good to see you in the city. Good to see you as well. We're standing right below the Chrysler building. Gary Ting says, depends on where you want to stay in New York City. The one hotel in Brooklyn is amazing. You know what? I never thought about that. I never really thought about staying in Brooklyn, but I think you'll be able to find some really cool and interesting places on Airbnb. Some pretty interesting deals. Ruby Falcone says, thank you, Tom. Celebrated my birthday. Oh, dude. Hey, Ruby, happy birthday. Good to see you. Happy birthday. You celebrated your birthday yesterday with the family. That's always good to hear. And Edson says, hi, Tom. What's up? Ann Cannon says, hi, Tom. What's going on, Ann? RR Walk says, I always enjoy your walking, Tom. Hope you are having a great day. And here's to a good 2022. Thank you. Hey, everybody, we see John L here. What's up, John L? Says markets sold off a bit when record COVID numbers came from UK, France, and Italy. This is John L. Yeah, so John, I think that's really in my opinion, I'd be curious to see what you have to say. I think the whole Omicron thing is a big non-issue. I actually think it is a positive for the market. But yeah, markets gave back a little bit today, but we're just coming off a fresh new all-time record highs for the S&P yesterday. So I think having a little bit of a pullback on lighter volume today is pretty normal, pretty healthy. Hey, we have Mar. What's up, Mar? Says, I like your channel. Hi again. Good to see you, Mar. Happy Tuesday. This is 3rd Avenue, looking southbound. So check out the view of the brand new One Vanderbilt, as well as the Chrysler building in the same shot. So to your right, you have the Chrysler building. And then the blue spire is the brand new Vanderbilt. Sabrina Fair says, I don't understand staying in a stranger's home or property. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand it, but I think that's going to be the new way people travel. So I'll tell you a little bit of an interesting story, Sabrina, about that. So I used to have an apartment in Harlem, New York, in one of the original historic brownstone buildings right in Harlem. And when I would go away on business travel, I used to put the apartment up on Airbnb. And I had such an overwhelming amount of people wanting to stay in my apartment in Harlem. And the vast majority of these people were from abroad, and they always wanted to experience what it was like living in New York City as an actual normal person or a resident here. So there's actually a big market for people that just want to travel to see what it's like living in New York. Hey, Gary Ting, thank you so much for the super chat and the support. It says, here's to a cup of mate, like the finance banter. Thank you, Gary. It's good to see you, and thank you for supporting, and thank you for enjoying the streams, and have a very happy new year. Hey, free Robinhood stock, how are you? Says you should do a video with Action Kid, teach him something about finance. So I actually think Action Kid probably knows a lot more about finance than me. I think in his later years, I think he actually worked at a major investment bank, I think. I'm not sure. But I believe that's what Action Kid's background is. I think he's an investment banker, isn't he? Hey, Kevin Buffalo's here. Says, didn't you feel weird having strangers sleep in your bed and use your stuff? So for me, I didn't really feel strange or weird. Everybody, this is Pfizer's world headquarters right here. JK says AK is a banker. Yeah, I thought so. Cool on 516 says that's what I think traveling is. Hang out with locals, no chain restaurants, just chill. Yeah, I think everybody's a little bit different, but I would say I think the younger generations are a little bit more nomadic, where they're more comfortable experiencing, actually living in other people's houses. Who knows? Hey, everybody, Luke Williams is here. What's up, Luke? Says we Airbnb our apartment and use the income to supplement our traveling. Oh, that's an awesome idea, Luke. So, Luke, I'm thinking about doing that with my place down in Miami, but I'm not sure yet. But I will keep you guys updated about that. British Gray says Tom, Action Kid used to be a banker. Okay. Lupe says, Tom, is your an apartment and Airbnb now? Not yet. So I may turn my house into a little bit of an Airbnb, but that's still tentative. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do just yet.
Hey, stop talking. Yeah. Well, America, hello.
Marilyn Ringles says, Tom, I dropped the Amazon documentary info at 8:19 p.m. So thank you for that, Marilyn. I'm going to take a screenshot because I'm going to go back and watch that. And I'll let you know what I think. So thank you for sharing that link. So this is East 42nd Street and 2nd Avenue. And this was a very famous, sort of college bar. It's called McFadden's. I'm not sure if it's reopening yet for the pandemic. I'm not sure. Hey, Dino's here. Says many Airbnb properties have spare bedrooms, basement apartments, spare rooms, etc. Most of the time, you never see the homeowner. Yeah, so Dino, I think you make a good point. So Dino, my whole idea was that whenever I have to travel for business, I would just rent out some of the spare bedrooms in my house on Airbnb, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to do that yet. Mar says, do you actually skate? Yeah, so Mar, we actually usually are actually riding around the city on a skateboard, but the past couple weeks, I would say about a month, has been really crazy for me, so I've been having to leave the skateboard at home. But if you click on my channel and go back to some of the other previous streams or videos, I actually post a lot of the skateboarding content around the city, which I actually wanted to keep a lot of people updated on that because I've been getting a lot of emails of people saying that they want more skateboarding content around the city. So what I will be doing is I'll be putting up on the channel, just so everybody could see it, it's going to be a 24-hour continuous loop of all of my 4K skateboarding videos. So I think I have about 5.5 hours or more. What am I saying? I think I have 20 hours of high definition skateboarding footage around the city. So I will be putting that up for the people who want to just check it out. But we will be bringing back the skateboard very soon. Gary Ting says, have you ever tried a booster board? So I haven't, just because in the city, skateboarding around the city, especially if you're skating in the street, I need to be able to maneuver really, really quickly. And I don't think I could ever do that on one of those boosted boards. Check out this big globe here. Vincent says, Tom, did you ever experience bad Airbnb tenants? So I've been actually very, very lucky, and I have never once experienced a horrible Airbnb tenant. Hey, Shay says, any comments on Evergrande? Didn't they default again? And Silver, just trying to understand, seems like JP Morgan is concerning or cornering the market like Trading Places. Yeah, so Shay, we've talked about the Evergrande situation a lot on the stream. I think it's a big non-issue. A lot of analysts on Wall Street were speculating that the Evergrande situation is going to turn into the China's Lehman Brothers moment. And I think everybody here on the channel knows what I'm talking about when I say Lehman Brothers moment. But I believe that the Communist Chinese Party is going to do everything in their power to provide stability. So you're probably going to see the government come in there and either buy all of the debt and actually probably overtake the vast majority of the company and turn it into a state-owned company. So I think the default risk is very, very mitigated. So if we look at a lot of the debt globally that Evergrande has issued, the United States has bought very, very little amounts or incremental amounts of debt. So if there was ever a default, the vast majority of the investment banks could easily absorb that loss. Hey, Bonzo Law, too big to fail. Cosmo Scary says, did you see that TikTok has become the most popular website? I haven't. That's crazy. Carol H says, I remember that Lehman Brothers moment. I was right outside the building. Whoa, that's crazy. So Carol, you must have seen everybody walking outside with boxes, with cardboard boxes. That must have been really wild. Gary Ting says, huge bailout if that happens. It's a tough precedent to set. Interesting to see. I think you're right. Hey, Roy S says, Tom, I forgot to check the weather. You managed to visit the One Vanderbilt new observatory room. So I haven't yet, not yet. The Mighty Bull is here to support your live streaming members. What is going on? The Mighty Bull, good to see you. Coffee Travel Food says, I can't get into TikTok. I cringe at the videos. Yeah, I don't have a TikTok. I've never even been on the app. Yeah, Carol says big boxes. Diana Lee says, hi, Tom. What's up, Diana? Good to see you. Hey, Mark is here. Mark says, hi from Maine. Good to see you, Mark from Maine. NYC Rich says, what's up, bro? Frank says, Casey Neistat did that without a problem. Yeah, I'm definitely not as skilled as that guy, especially when it comes to skateboarding. But that is true. So speaking of Casey Neistat, does anybody remember the video he did about the everybody getting tickets going over the Williamsburg Bridge? So, funny story, that's the first time I ever heard of Casey Neistat, is because I actually got a ticket riding my bike over the Williamsburg Bridge. So if anybody, I'll stop, boring everybody, but if you want to check out that video Casey Neistat did, he made a video about the major problem we have here in New York City about people biking over the Williamsburg Bridge getting a ticket. And I believe he sent it to City Hall. I'm not sure if they did anything about it. Hey, Free Robinhood Stocks is new to this great channel. Love the content. Well, thank you for joining, and it's always good to see you. I think I've seen you here a couple times, Robinhood Stock. I think I've seen you here a lot. Gary Ting says, how do you get ticket over the Williamsburg? Isn't there a bike lane? Yeah, so I'm going to explain this horrible, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. There's only one section you're allowed to exit the Williamsburg Bridge, and there's no signage or anything about it. But I believe there was the most bicycle accidents ever, citywide, right there, because the city planning and the urban planning it's called, is horrible. So once you come over the bridge and try to exit onto Delancey Street, I believe, you have a bunch of police officers that jump out from behind the concrete wall and issue you a ticket. I think I paid like 40 bucks. I don't remember. And I think it's starting to rain a little bit, so we may have to get out the umbrella. Shay, hey, what's up, Shay? CB Earth Day 2070, good to see you. Jefferson Lopez is joining us from Brazil. Good to see you, Jefferson Lopez. John L says, Casey just started posting again, starting a film school. Wow. Everybody, we got the one and only Mark Davis here. Says, good evening there, Tom. Hope all is well with you. Hello from Toronto. What's up, Mark? So if anybody's interested in learning more about medical marijuana, medical cannabis, Mark Davis is your guy. So now we're standing right outside of the very famous Grand Central Station. Obama says, I have a buddy that back in the day would climb the Williamsburg Bridge. Jeez. Ricky Ticky, good to see you. How many are wearing masks in the city now? Guess at percentage, says Link. So I think the city is mandated, or New York State has mandated masks indoors for everybody. But outside, I think the vast majority of people don't wear the masks. I think outside. So here we are at Pershing Square Plaza, right as you enter the famous Grand Central Station. So when we think about Pershing Square Plaza, I always think about Bill Ackman's hedge fund, Pershing Square. Famously known for making over $1 billion in one day by buying swaps on the S&P 500 during the coronavirus pandemic. And that was a part of his tail risk portfolio. Pretty good trade. Probably will go down as one of the greatest trades of all time. Right up there with Michael Burry's Big Short during the big housing bubble. Hey, Juliana's here from Brazil. What's up, Juliana? Flex Stream? Yeah, I agree. George says hello from Greece. What is up, everybody from Greece? Always good to see you, CB Earth Day. George says, I invest in stocks, USA stocks. That's awesome. Edson, good to see you. Alexander is here. Says, hey, Tom, do you think we'll start to see economic divergence between places like New York and Florida versus China and Sweden, etc.? So I'm not sure about that. I think there's a lot of anecdotes. I think there's a lot of anecdotal data that a lot of people are going off of. I think New York will always be a bedrock for finance and technology. But what you'll probably see are companies or startup companies, they'll probably start to choose places like Dallas, Texas, Denver, Colorado, and Miami, Florida to start a business over places like Silicon Valley, just due to the tax burden and things like that. You're seeing, I think there was something like, there's 5 states in the United States that have populations over 20 million people. And I believe for the first time ever, New York State fell below 20 million people. And during the COVID pandemic, over 350,000 people left New York and went to places like Texas and things like that. But we're not sure if those trends are going to be sustained, right? What I think is that a lot of wealthy people probably bought second homes and things like that as tax havens to sort of escape the pandemic. So I don't know if it'll have any real sticking power, but I believe what's going to happen as a result of this pandemic, to your point, is there'll be more satellite cities where technological innovation and more businesses move to create more offices. That's what I think. Hey, Diana Lee, thank you so much for the £5, his hydration fund. Thank you, Diana Lee. Yes, Sarah G is here, says it'll be interesting to see in 10 years. Cool Cats is pretty interesting, I agree. Hey, Charles, is Charles here? What's going on, Charles? From Littleton, Colorado. Jefferson Lopez says, do you live in Manhattan? So I used to live in Manhattan. I used to live on 59th Street, Central Park South, but now I no longer live there. Everybody, right here is that Billionaires Row apartment complex, 432 Park Avenue. Yeah, Bonzo Law says New York City will always be a cultural epicenter regardless. I don't think New York City will ever die. I love it here. No amount of corrupt politics will ever bring New York City down. Hey, I see Fresh Start says hi, everybody. What's going on, Fresh Start? But sort of piggybacking off of what that viewer said, I forget your name. But we just got a very interesting piece of economic data that just came out today. And we had the S&P CORELOGIC CASE-SHILLer index reported a 19.1% annualized increase in home sales in October year over year. And if we look at the specific markets, that experienced the fastest growth in terms of home price appreciation, we'll see that Phoenix, Arizona came in the fastest growth at 32.2%. So think about that. So on an annualized basis, single family homes in Phoenix, Arizona went up 32.2%, followed by Tampa, Florida at 28%. And Miami, Florida at 25%. So if anybody wants to see this study, I actually programmed the Nightbot to drop a link to the S&P Global's website of the S&P CORELOGIC CASE-SHILLer index. So if you type !homes, HOMES, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link to the CASE-SHILLer index, and you guys could actually see by market. You could zoom in on all the different infographics and the charts and see by market where the housing prices are actually growing the fastest. Yeah, so Marilyn Ringel at 432 Park Avenue, I believe there's massive civil lawsuits. The tenants are actually suing the developers. There's so many issues with that building. There's water leaks, there's power outages, the buildings sway, the elevators get stuck. So it's a big mess, and there's a lot of litigation going on. So we'll follow that over the next couple of years. So everybody, Cosmo Scary, the best moderator we have from Baruch College, just dropped the link to the S&P Global's PDF. So a lot of the times I'll like to drop articles for you guys, but there was a lot of articles that came out today covering these home price increases, and they did an egregious job of explaining the actual data. So I just thought I would give you guys the data right from the actual source where there's no biases. Fox Business came out with a couple articles, so did CNN, but they interpreted the data so poorly, it was almost as if the person who wrote the article has no idea how to interpret data. So I'll just give you guys the raw data, and you can interpret it for yourselves. Hey, the Magic Entertainer says the minimum wage is going up to $15 per hour, but rent is up to $2,500 a month. How does that make sense? Yeah, so the Magic Entertainer, I think you make a great point. We're seeing wages increase, and a lot of politicians are cheering that on, saying, hey, look at all the wage increases, this is great. But if you actually look at the CPI, our last CPI print was about 6.8%. So wages are not catching up with inflation, so it's just a wash. But very good observation. Hey, Ren1018 is here. Good to see you, Ren10. David says, hi, Tom. Did you see the disgusting video of the cops in New York harassing a kid in the restaurant? I did not see that, David. Did not see that. Everybody, my favorite YouTube username in the world has just entered the chat. Again, my favorite YouTube username on record, Don't Fight the Fed, is here. Good to see you, Don't Fight the Fed. Fresh Start says, how come Five Guys is very expensive, Tom? I'm not sure, but I like Five Guys better than any other burger place. So if we look to our left right here, we'll see the one and only Yale Club. And Jeff Bezos actually comes here a lot. So sometimes you'll actually see Jeff Bezos' entourage right here. Don't fight the Fed. Love that. So there's two very notable investors on Wall Street that we talk about ad nauseum on the stream. Paul Tudor Jones and Stanley Druckenmiller. I think arguably you could say they're the greatest investors of all time, especially Stanley Druckenmiller. And they always say, don't fight the Federal Reserve. Hey, Little Flower Girl is here. What's going on? Cosmo Scary says Tom likes inferior burgers at Shake Shack. Funny. So here we are at the Yale Club. Oftentimes you'll be able to see Jeff Bezos walking out with our moderator, Cosmo Scary. Gary said the Fed and my actual employer. John L says Fed weekly balance sheet numbers come out tomorrow, I believe. I think you're right. John. And so here's something that's really interesting. And this is why I've been stressing on this stream a lot, saying, even though the Federal Reserve and Fed Chair Jerome Powell is coming out and telling everybody that we are going to start to taper and dial back on the asset purchases, we don't even have to listen to them. We can completely ignore them. We know they're liars. We know they're crooks. We know they're criminals. We know they're unethical. We know that. What we can do is we could actually just look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. And ever since Jerome Powell said that they're going to start to taper, the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve has actually grown, not shrunk. So that's why I always say it's more important to pay attention to what the Federal Reserve is actually doing as opposed to just listening to them. Because we could just look at the Federal Reserve's balance sheet to see what they're actually doing. Jack says, I went to Five Guys once and only 3 guys were working there. That's funny. So this is the front of the MetLife building. And they actually just remodeled it. This used to be all scaffolding here. But now the lobby of the MetLife building is absolutely beautiful. S is 3 divisive issues in Tom's channel. Best burgers, best pizza, and where to go streaming between Empire State Building and Central Park. I think this may be my favorite Christmas wreath in the city right here. What do you guys think? Sarah G says love the wreath. So we'll take a quick walk around inside. We'll see. We'll see if they kick us out. If they kick us out, we'll get out. So this is the brand new entrance to the MetLife building. The place looks so clean in here. It's unbelievable. They did a great job. Hey, I see Paul P here. What's up, Paul? Good to see you. Shay says this is amazing. Yeah, so this is the brand new entrance to the MetLife building. And you could actually walk straight down here and gain access to Grand Central Station. So we'll do that. We'll take a little walk. Bonzo Lawless's MetLife building with the strong wreath game. Agreed. Yeah, Marilyn Ringo says, I wish the subways were clean. So who knows, Marilyn? Maybe it'll get a little bit better because we do have a new mayor very soon. Hey, Chris Mills is here. This is sterile. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. And here we are at Grand Central Station. So up here is actually the Apple store that is now completely closed down due to the big C, the big coronavirus. Yeah, Alexander says love the new entrance. They did a great job. Cosmo's scary, I agree. Yeah, Cosmo says saw you riding the subway on your IG, caught you by surprise. That was the first time I was on the train in a long, long time, Cosmo. Jefferson Lopez says, do you speak Portuguese? Unfortunately, I don't. Fresh Start says, did they name the MetLife building after MetLife Stadium? I think vice versa. The Magic Entertainer says, like Union Station here in Toronto, they did work on it here too. So here's the Mighty Bull. But it's good to see everything is packed. Yes, Alexander, so speaking of trains, are you excited for the Long Island Railroad to come to Grand Central Station? So this is something they've been working on for a long time. So it's called the East Side Access Project, and it is almost in conclusion. So you'll be able to take the Long Island Railroad directly to the east side of Manhattan, right here at Grand Central Station. Hey, Garage Motor says hello, watching from Brazil. Good to see you, Garage Motor. We have the one and only Marty Lewis joining us. Says good evening, everybody. What's up, Marty Lewis? Jefferson says, what is the weather like here? I think it's only like 45 degrees out, but it's actually not too bad. Maybe like 45 degrees today. Hey, Brandy. What's up, Brandy? Says, hey, Tom, it's nice to catch your stream. Good to see you. As always, Brandy. Always a pleasure. Hey, Fresh Start says, have you ever seen the Newark skyline in the Newark airport? I think I've seen it once. I didn't even know Newark had a skyline, but... The Mighty Bull, here we are at the Mighty Bull.
Attention customers. A reminder, proper wearing of a mask that covers the nose and mouth is required when you travel on trains or are in our stations regardless of social distancing and vaccination status. If you forgot yours, please ask a station ambassador or train crew member to provide one. Stay safe. Thank you for
Yeah, it is
riding
beautiful
with us.
in here, isn't it? It's really nice in here. Hey, greetings from El Salvador. Welcome everybody from El Salvador. Hope you're well. Free Robinhood stock says, do you go to Miami for work or play? So I bought a house there in North Miami Beach. But I'm back and forth between New York City and Miami for work. Cool Aunt 516 says it's like being in the 1920s. Hey, Photos from around New York is here. What's up, Photos? Good to see you. So, Photos from around New York. Today we were talking about a very key piece of economic news that came out, or a key piece of economic data. And on average, home prices increased in the month of October year over year about 19.1%. And many economists speculate home prices are increasing due to two main factors. The first factor being extremely low interest rates, and the second factor being extremely low supply. I think this year has set a record for the fewest amount of homes ever on the market. Yeah, CB Earth Days is a beautiful location for photos. Tony says, hi, my friend, how are you? Enjoy the lovely walk from Sydney, Australia. Welcome, everybody. From Australia, good to see you. Roy S. says, every time Tom says there is always a bull market somewhere, we just need to know where to look. The right answer is inside Grand Central Terminal. Ah, very clever. So Marjan Worldwide says, sad to hear that John Madden passed away. Godspeed. So I hate to say this, but who is that? Excuse my ignorance, but I'm not too familiar with who that is. Dino says former Senator Harry Reid just passed away as well. That's horrible. So we're looking at the Apple Store. Hey, Running at Altitude is here. This is NFL coach and broadcaster. Wow. Jack says, what famous movie scenes were shot in Grand Central Station that you could think of? I can't really think of any, honestly. I'm not a big movie guy. But if you look at this corner right here, you'll see one teeny spot of all black. And that's actually cigarette tar from before that they cleaned the roof of the building. So they left one small teeny patch of black. And that's what the whole entire roof used to look like before they cleaned it, due to all of the cigarette smoke. Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, Madagascar. That's funny. So the Madagascar animation was filmed here. Well, I guess virtually. Could you call that the metaverse? What do you guys think? Could you call that the metaverse technically? I don't know. Hey, Tatiana M is here. What's going on, Tatiana M? Good to see you. I'll show you guys the very famous Grand Central Station chandeliers. Carol H says, I want to buy a property in Miami. Do you have any recommendations on where to get a mortgage? So, Carol, it's actually really difficult to get approved for a mortgage now. But I think who underwrote my deal was JP Morgan Chase. Yeah, Fresh Start from New Jersey probably has the best views in Manhattan. I definitely know that Hoboken, New Jersey has great views of the city. I do agree with you there. Hey, Greg Davis is hello from Australia. What's up, Greg? Good to see you. Hope you're well. I know, Alexander says Grand Central Station is so nice. Penn Station is such a dump. Agreed. All right, so we're back out on the street on East 42nd Street, where all the taxi cabs line up. Hey, Alex Wise, the issue with New Jersey is that you have to take the path to get to New York. That's true. Well, although I used to go to, what's it called? I'm blanking on the name. I used to go to New Jersey a lot during the pandemic because everything was closed in New York City. But New Jersey was open, so on the weekends I would actually take the PATH train to Jersey City. And it was actually pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. It was actually a pretty nice place. Jefferson Lopez says, what is your IG? If you just type in Wall Street Skate Bro, you should see it. Whenever I hear screaming people, I'm always moving on out. Not trying to stick around for that. So right here on the corner of Madison Avenue, excuse me, and East 42nd Street is PwC, or PricewaterhouseCoopers. So big consultancy, we could think about KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, EY. But I believe IBM actually owns the PwC consultancy business. So I'll give you guys one more look before we head out of Grand Central Station and the Chrysler Building. You know what, Marjan? I was thinking about that. I think that's good. So everybody, in the new year, we may change the name of the channel. We'll still do the same content, but I think I'm gonna change the name of the channel. But that's to be determined. Hey, Elon Musk is here, says, what would be the worst part of New York to live in? I'm not sure about that. Probably somewhere very far away where there's very few train access. We'd have to take the bus. Free Robinhood Stock says, I closed over $300 million in residential mortgages in the last 10 years. Mainly refinanced. Did very well, but moving on due to everyone's rates now under 4%. Any idea what hot new market next? I'm not sure. I mean, as a career, I think it's pretty important to think about that and take that seriously. So I'm not sure. I mean, I work in tech sales, which I enjoy. So I'm not sure if you have any coding skills or anything like that. The Mighty Bull says, shout outs now, no shutouts later. Hey, Thiago's here. What's up, Thiago?
Yes.
So now we are looking at Salesforce Tower. CEO is Mark Benioff. Hey, photos from around New York, thank you for joining tonight. It's always good to see you. Hope you have a great day. Hey, Cynthia Martinez says, Miami misses you. Good to see you, Cynthia. Thank you for joining. Hopefully you're holding down Miami while I'm gone. Jack says the hole in Brooklyn is kind of off the grid and would compete for worst. Interesting. Looks like this guy missed his bus. Oh, maybe he'll get it. I guess we'll have to see. Ken says, Tom, do you prefer New York City or Miami? I would say in the winter, I prefer Miami. In the summer, I prefer New York City. But they're both my two favorite places. My two favorite places on earth. Number one, New York City. Number two, Miami. So it was interesting when I was reading the report, and if anybody wants to read the report, if you type !homes, H-O-M-E-S, the Nightbot will drop the link to the S&P CORELOGIC CASE-SHILLER index that reported a ripping 19.1% annualized gains in the price of homes. One of the strongest housing markets was actually San Diego, California. Isn't that interesting? So we oftentimes hear all of this talk about a massive exodus of California, but there do tend to be some markets in California that are extremely or exceptionally strong. I believe San Diego, California saw a 15% increase in the average price of their homes. So I thought that was a pretty interesting piece of information, or interesting piece of data from the report. So San Diego, California still remains strong in terms of the price appreciation of homes. Yeah, Ed says, and San Diego is already expensive. So I've been talking to a lot of my real estate buddies that do real estate in California, and they say that the reason why it's so expensive to live in California is because of all the bureaucracy in terms of getting permits to build. It's near impossible to get permits to build new developments in California. So perhaps it's a lot of government bureaucracy that's messing everything up. Andrew says San Diego is great. Yeah, supposedly it's one of the most beautiful places in America in terms of weather. Hey, Boham is here, says San Diego is great. I'd like to visit San Diego. I've never been. So now we are very close to Bryant Park, and we're overlooking the Bank of America Tower as well as Salesforce Tower. Hey, Days Works says Boise, Idaho home prices are crazy as well. Yeah, so I heard about that. So Boise, Idaho, as well as Denver, Colorado. I think Denver, Colorado is also a very fast-growing market for homes, mainly because of all the tech companies that are moving there to Denver. Denver's supposedly a great market. I would like to visit to see what all the hype is about. Is anybody familiar with Denver or the Denver market? Fresh Start says, Tom, zoom up to the H&M building in Times Square. Maybe we'll pass it tonight. Maybe we'll pass it. Flexstream says houses in Flint, Michigan are still cheap. Jeez. Yeah, I think, isn't Flint, Michigan the location where there's a ton of... they pretty much don't even have any clean drinking water. Is that correct, or am I thinking about a different town in Michigan? I think it is Flint, Michigan, I believe. All right, everybody, so this is Bryant Park, and this is the Bryant Park Grill. This is a favorite spot of many Wall Street titans. Yeah, Coolon 516 says this is the one, yeah. Yeah, that's horrible. Can you imagine? I just don't understand that. In the United States, we still have places that don't have clean drinking water. I mean, that's egregious. But I digress. Yeah, Free Robinhood stock says there's lead in the water there. That's really bizarre. So this is the Bryant Park Grill. Hey, EBITDA, read the book. What's up, EBITDA? EBITDA is our investment banking friend. Speaking of EBITDA, we're standing right outside the Bank of America Tower right now. EBITDA, I did have a good start to the week. I was a lot busier than anticipated. I thought I was going to be completely dead throughout the whole week, but today was a real killer in terms of work. Hey, Coffee, Food, Travel says, do you think you will do a New Year's Eve stream? I'm not sure. That's tentative because I may have to go to an event on New Year's. But this is the Bryant Park Winter Village here. EBITDA says so much for the late Santa Claus rally. Yeah, I mean, we saw the market pull back on relatively low volume. I think all the major indices are going to ramp into the end of the week. That's still my view. But EBITDA, we had the S&P CORELOGIC CASE-SHILLER index report a 19.1% annualized increase in the price of homes for October. So year over year, homes across the United States in the 9 major key markets that the indice tracks are up 19%. The strongest markets being Tampa, or I think the strongest housing market, according to the report, was Phoenix, Arizona, with a 32.2% price increase in the price of single-family homes, followed by Tampa, Florida, and Miami. Month-over-month gains. So every month, the price increases are coming in at about 0.8%. So could you imagine that? Home prices are actually going up almost 1% a month. That's, I mean, talk about inflation. That is the epitome of inflation. EBITDA, that's funny. I have pretty high conviction. So usually what we see is a big burst on Monday, which we saw. Tuesday, Wednesday are usually very low volume days, and then it usually ramps into the end of the year. But I'm actually most bullish on financial stocks going into the end of the year, EBITDA. So I'm bullish on Bank of America, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs going into the end of the year because, as you know, EBITDA, you probably know better than anybody else in the chat, your bonus is coming up. And a lot of executive compensation is based on executive stock option. So you'll usually see the major investment banks gain into the end of the year to help juice returns and hopefully to help boost some of the bonuses that are going out on Wall Street. I think the bonuses that are going out this year on Wall Street will be the highest bonuses ever paid, mainly due to record mergers and acquisition fees and equity underwriting fees. EBITDA says, what is your conviction on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd give it an 80% chance that the S&P 500 closes at a new all-time record high, higher than the one it just set yesterday, into the end of the year. But I'm not responsible for any losses on YOLO options contracts. Hey, Santo A says, what do you think is the new Tesla? I'm not sure. I think Tesla is the new Tesla. Hopefully that's not too much of a weird answer, but I think Tesla is the new Tesla. Yeah, EBITDA says, yeah, deal flow was insane this year, at least for Bank of America. Yeah, I guess it's a positive and a negative. The positive is that you guys are doing really well. You're making a lot of money. But you guys must have been really busy this year, man. So hopefully you get some time to relax. Hey, Sure Thing Sport is joining the chat, everybody. He says, love the vibes. The frequency is just right. EBITDA says, maybe I could do a Tom end of the year YOLO. Ed Dunkel says, Pancake Swap is the new Tesla. So I believe Pancake Swap is a decentralized exchange where essentially there's no intermediary between the broker and the client, which I think is a pretty cool piece of technology. Hey, Western Mass Dave is here. Says, hey, Tom, good evening. Good evening, Western Mass Dave. Yeah, Bonzo Lol says Tesla needs to get it together with their paint quality. I've heard that a lot, actually. I heard that critique a lot. Hey, Shay says high home prices means higher property taxes and insurance. No benefit for the people. Yeah, I guess it's only a benefit if you own homes, because a lot of people use those assets or those inflated asset prices to borrow against their existing assets to acquire new assets. Hey, George says, I'm $80 in Nano Dimension stock. I'm not sure what that is. I've never heard of it. Marilyn Ringel says, question, do you watch TV? You can be an idiot and have a reality show. I cannot believe people really live the way they demonstrate. I don't really watch that much TV. That was a nice cartwheel. Yeah, fresh start. We could see One World Trade Center on 6th Avenue. We'll do that for our buddy Fresh Start. Cosmo Scary says, Tom, who is your favorite CEO of an S&P 500 company? I would say Elon Musk, and then number 2, Mark Benioff. So I think that's a pretty generic answer, but what about you, Cosmo? So now we are going to head down towards Koreatown, 34th Street, Herald Square, and then we'll walk over to the one and only Hudson Yards. Ah, Ken says Tim Cook is your favorite. Ken says Tim Cook, Apple. So I believe Apple is only a couple dollars away from hitting a $3 trillion market cap. Isn't that crazy? Imagine having a company worth $3 trillion. EBITDA says, Tom, I love Rich Handler from Jefferies. I talked with him a couple times casually, not business, and he is a really cool, laid-back, and smart individual. Interesting, EBITDA. So EBITDA, isn't he a backer of that financial meme account? I think Liquidity or Litquidity or something like that. I think there's a very popular financial meme something account, Litquidity. Hey, Juan Carlos says, my company announced either a 11% cash yearly bonus or a 13% stock purchase option. Which should I take to minimize taxes that I don't need the money now. So I think it all depends about how profitable your company is. You know, if I worked at General Electric and they said, you know, we're going to give you a cash bonus, or we're going to give you, 13% bonus in stock, I'm going to take the cash, right? Because GE is on its way to zero. But if you work at like an Apple or something like that, if your company is publicly traded and it's growing its earnings at a compounded annualized growth rate of at least 25% per annum, I would take the stock. Flexstream says Steve Varney is usually wrong on stock predictions. He needs to retire. Everybody gives that guy such a hard time. Him and Kramer. But Kramer's been saying some really outlandish stuff lately. Hey, Deja Vu says life is owning a piece of the sky. Yeah, I think Apple's going to come out with a car, as somebody in the comments said. So I didn't know this, but there's an interview out with the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. You know, we'll go this way because there's a better view of the Empire State Building here. So there's an interview out with the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. I'm blanking on who did the interview. I don't know why I'm blanking on the name. But the guy who did the interview, how can I forget his name? He's the executive producer of the show Billions, I believe. You know, he's the guy on CNBC. He wrote the book about the financial crisis. I'm blanking on his name. But anyway, supposedly during the interview, he put Tim Cook on the spot, and he said a couple years ago, Elon Musk actually reached out to you about selling Tesla to Apple. And he was like, well, why did you pass on that? And Tim Cook he refused to answer. It was hilarious. And Tim Cook kind of knew he made the wrong decision, and Tim Cook didn't even take the meeting. Yes, Kevin Sunderland, you're right. Andrew Ross Sorkin, sorry about that, because blanking on the name. So Andrew Ross Sorkin just did an interview with Tim Cook. And he told Tim Cook, he's like, hey, I heard Elon Musk wanted to sell the company, wanted to sell Tesla to Apple, and you wouldn't even take his meeting. So Tim Cook snubbed Apple. And in the interview, it's quite funny just to sort of look at Tim Cook's body language, because he knows he made a big blunder. Oh, Quants says, I think it was Alec Baldwin, geez. Ken Kramer says, I'm sure the new Apple car will be a lemon. I don't know. So speaking of Apple, did anybody see this? I saw it across the ticker tape today in Bloomberg that Apple is offering $180,000 retention bonuses to all Apple software engineers that stay with Apple for the next 2 years and don't go to Meta platforms to work on Facebook's new Meta. Did anybody hear that? So if you're an Apple software engineer, supposedly you're getting offered a $180,000 retention package. Hey, Andrew Lee is here from Queens. Good to see you, Andrew Lee. Ren 10 says, wow, indeed. Yeah, John L says, Warren Buffett missed the entire tech run. But now I think Berkshire Hathaway has a majority stake in Apple, don't they? Marco says, what stockbroker do you recommend? So I can't recommend anything, but I'll just tell you what I use. I use Interactive Brokers and Charles Schwab. So I use Interactive Brokers and Charles Schwab. Cheryl says, do they do any trading on Wall Street? So actually, the New York Stock Exchange is really obsolete now. It's mainly just used as the CNBC studios. because the vast majority of trading on Wall Street is all algorithmic and quantitative based. So the New York Stock Exchange is pretty much just a historical society. There's really no use for it anymore, as crazy as that sounds, but it is true. Hey, Kevin Lee is here. What's up, Kevin? This is good evening. It's 9:21 from the Barclays Center at Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn. Sam Miguel says, only person I know in finance and executive producer in Hollywood is Secretary Mnuchin. EBITDA says, IB is the best you can get set up with easy. Agreed. EBITDA says, Apple is also worth more than a majority of countries in the world. I know, that is crazy. Yeah, Ken Kramer says Tesla is a technological phenomenon. It really is. Falcon 1 says big money. Indeed it is. Big money. I know. EBITDA says, Tom, Apple had the chance to buy Tesla for pennies on the dollar. See, I never knew that until I watched the Andrew Ross Sorkin interview. Deja Vu says, any opinions on the Tesla phone? I don't think there's ever going to be a Tesla phone. Falcon 1 says, in 20 years, all cars will be anonymous, says Falcon 1. Yeah, so actually, I think it may be a little bit later than that, but I think you may be right. So the real reason why we don't have massive adoption in autonomous vehicles, especially in the United States, is because we don't have a true defined 5G or even 6G network. So oftentimes when you watch the commercials about Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile saying they have a 5G network, it's all like a marketing gimmick. And I know this, I was on the networking side a little bit at a major telecom company. And in order to have true autonomous vehicles, you need extremely, extremely low latency, high throughput networks. And it's just not ready yet in the United States. You would have cars slamming into one another and it'd be total chaos. So unless the United States builds out a true defined 5G network, autonomous vehicles are really far off. And it's really not to the fault of the United States. We're a big country, right? So we have a lot of mileage to cover. This is why there's new emerging technologies such as like edge computing, where they put the majority of the computing power, the compute power closest to the edge. But we'll talk about that on another stream. But I think places like South Korea will probably see full autonomous vehicles much sooner than the United States, just because it's a smaller country, right?
Oh yeah, it is.
Ken says Tesla has high depreciation rates. Is that true? I don't know that. Charlie Richardson says, ooh, that kid just ate it bad. That wasn't good. I think he's good. He's laughing. I thought he clocked his head on the floor. That wasn't good. But he's good now. So another thing, the reason the United States has very old telecommunications infrastructure. So in order to build a true 5G network, you're going to need to do a complete rip and replace. So that's why I think a lot of Asian countries actually have the advantage on building out true defined telecommunications networks, is because they're just emerging and all of the infrastructure they're building is brand new. But it's going to be a work in progress. Hey, Anthony says, no, my Model 3 is from 2019 and I could sell it for $5K more than I paid. Yeah, Anthony, that's what I thought. I was thinking that Tesla actually has extremely strong resale value. Sabrina Fair says, hey, Empire Carlos, good to see you, Sabrina Fair. Sarah G says, the fact that Tesla stock is so high speaks to the demand for autonomous vehicles and electric vehicles. I think the vast majority of the innovation that's going to come out of Tesla is actually in their battery technology. Wade Braxton says, and Korea is way more advanced. Falcon 1 says, I'm looking forward to it though, means less human error. Agreed. There's going to be a lot less death when you have full autonomy in vehicles. Because robots do things way better and more efficient than humans ever can. So we're here at Herald Square, 34th Street Herald Square, on Broadway, right outside of the main Macy's. It's the world's largest store, and I believe Amazon and Macy's are in a big dispute over this billboard. Hey, Savi says, good night, Tom and everybody. Good night, Savi. Good to see you. Thank you for joining tonight. Marilyn Ringel says, tech is good, but it can be abused. Anyone watch Black Mirror on Netflix? So I haven't, but I've actually heard that name come up a couple times. EBITDA says, Tom, what is your opinion on Kathy Wood? I think she is sounding like a desperate salesman at this point. I honestly think she missed quite bad, but curious on your take. Yeah, so EBITDA, I've known of Kathy Wood since 2013, but she only really became very, very popular due to her ARK funds, right? And I think that it just so happened she hit big during the pandemic when a lot of people who previously had never really paid attention to the stock market started paying attention to the stock market. So when you have a lot of novice investors that really don't know what they're doing, you know, if we look back through history, all the novice investors just chase the brightest shiny object. So what they do is they look at the fund or the mutual fund or the ETF that is posting the highest returns, and they just buy that one, right? So a lot of these names in Kathy Wood's portfolio were all of these extremely high beta growth stocks. And a lot of them were pandemic plays, right? So you think about Zoom Video, ticker symbol ZM. You know, they benefited a great deal from the pandemic, but it went through an extreme multiple expansion. So a lot of the names in her portfolio were trading at 30 times sales, you know, 20 times earnings, really crazy multiples. And you had a massive fallout. So I think she's a phenomenal investor, but at the end of the day, she made a killing. She made a lot of money, but past performance isn't a guarantee of future outcomes. But I think over the next 10-year period, I actually think that Kathy Wood will outperform the majority of managed funds on the street. But right now, a lot of those high beta names are extremely depressed, and I think they're going to stay depressed for quite some time. Although I do foresee a January effect in the stock market where you're going to see a lot of money probably flow to some of the growth names that were beaten down, that have the strongest moats playing in the biggest total addressable markets and the strongest earnings runway. And I think a lot of these are starting to get bought up, but a lot of them are junk, but the vast majority of them are actually pretty good. So like your cybersecurity companies, like your CrowdStrikes, your Zscalers, I think those will continue to perform well. Yes, Sabrina Fair says there was an interview with Elon Musk and Lex Friedman. I have to watch that. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. Yeah, EBITDA, you're right. All Kathy Wood's stocks were very high PE. So a lot of the returns that were generated in that portfolio were really just pull forwards. So she had like 5 years worth of gains in 1 year. So it's going to take a while for those stocks to go back in a cycle. So what I think is going to happen is a lot of those high beta, high PE stocks, Wall Street analysts are going to wait for at least 3 to 4 earnings reports to roll around, and these companies should grow into their valuations. And once they grow into a multiple where it's reasonable, I think they'll continue to get bought up again. So here we are outside of the one and only Penn Station. Hasib says this live is so calming. Thank you, Hasib. Good to have you here. Hope you're well. Hey, Robert Parker says Macy's shockingly doesn't even own the entire block. Is that true? I never knew that. I did not know that. John L says 85% of hedge fund managers underperform the S&P. That is true. I think it's actually a higher percentage. Luke says Tesla stock has 20x since my cousin bought his Model 3 2 years ago. I think he wishes he would have bought the stock instead of the car. Yeah, that is really a good observation there. Hey, James Dixon says, what's up, bro? What's up, James? Good to see you as always. Veronica, how are you? So we're gonna head towards the Moynihan train station. Hey, somebody says watching from the beautiful islands of Antigua and Barbuda. Very cool. Carol Williams, always good to see you. Joe Hernandez says, good night, Tom. Have a good one. Good night, Joe. Thank you for joining. Robin says, hi from 10 minutes south in Greenwich Village. Hope you're well, Robin. Beautiful location you live in. Hey, Ralph says, Tom, do you know what former Kmart will be replaced with where you are right now? So I'm not sure about this Kmart, but there's a Kmart downtown near NYU at Astor Place, very close to the IBM Watson building, that is going to be replaced with a Wegmans grocery, the one at One Penn Plaza. Yeah, Robin says, yeah, Rock's there in Greenwich Village, do a walk. Yeah, we usually, bring the skateboard down there a couple times. But we'll have to walk down there sooner or later. Elon Musk says the metaverse is a lie, especially coming out of Mark Zuckerberg's cheater and liar. Interesting, Elon Musk. Interesting take. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I respect it. But I respect it. Yeah, so in the hedge fund business, the real way the portfolio managers make their money is from fee income, right? So really any time in finance, the main thing that people are trying to do is grow their AUM, or assets under management. Because as you grow your assets under management, you get more fee income, right? So a lot of the times, let's say you're running the Fidelity Magellan Fund. I'm not sure what their fees are, but maybe they charge like 1%. If you're growing your AUM at more than $2 billion a year, you're going to be feeling well, because not only are some hedge funds taking probably 2 and 20. So they do 2% management fee and then they take 20% of the profits. So I think you'd be feeling well if you did that. That's why there's a lot of prominent voices on Wall Street, especially one of which being the very famous founder of Vanguard. Fortunately, he did pass away, Jack Bogle, that said the majority of investors are probably better off just dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 low cost index fund as opposed to giving your money to actively managed accounts. Hey, Judy D is here. Says hi, everybody. What's up, Judy? Always a pleasure to see you. We're standing outside Madison Square Garden here, right outside the box office in the Moynihan train station. And this is one of my favorite views of the Empire State Building, right outside Madison Square Garden. Yeah, EBITDA says, Tom, Steve Cohen used to do 3% and 50% of the profits. Still, there was a huge wave of people begging to get in his fund. He was a beast. Yeah, so Steve Cohen, I think he runs .72 Asset Management, and I believe he owns the New York Mets. Is that right? Hey, Jet Life says, Tom, you sound extra wall boring or wall bro tonight. Appreciate that, Jet Life. Hope you're good, Jet Life. Cool on 516 says Warren Buffett said the same thing about no load S&P 500 funds. That's what I do for some of my funds. I do that for the vast majority of my investments. RL says, why red color in the Empire? I'm actually not sure. Does anybody know why the Empire State Building is the color that it is tonight? I'm actually not sure. That's a good question. Hey, Horatio Snipes says, Tom, thank you for giving us that tour of Grand Central Terminal. No problem. Always good to see you, Horatio. Hope you're having a good holiday season. So I really want to take everybody for a little walk through the Moynihan train station, but I think it's pretty impossible because there is no service here, which is a bummer, but we'll just have to deal with it. So this is 34th Street, Penn Station. You can get the A, C, and the E 1, 2, 3 right here on 7th Avenue. James says, thanks for giving me New York City when I can't be there myself. No problem, James. Asia Unscripted is here. Says, good evening. Sarah G says, candy cane color for Christmas. Possibly. EBITDA says, Tom, yeah, he used to run SAC Capital before the insider trading scandal. Ah, I remember that. He got banned and now he can only manage his own money, 0.72. He does also own the Mets and billions in art, I could imagine. So EBITDA, whatever happened with that? Did he have to? I don't think he ever had to admit to insider trading. I think he just had to pay a fine, but I don't think he ever had to admit guilt. Am I correct in saying that? That I'm actually not sure. Maybe EBITDA, you know that. So we're walking towards the Hudson Yards. Yeah, Robin. So it says, any action over at the Hudson Yards tonight? So we're going to take a little walk over to the Hudson Yards. It should look beautiful, Robin, so we'll go there. Everybody, we have Shot by Scott here. It says, Happy New Year, bud. Scott, good to see you. Scott is a great photographer out of the Miami-Dade County area. Please check him out. Alfred says, Tom, do you have some favorite stocks for 2022? So I do, and I actually wrote about them. If you want to, yesterday I sent out the Behind the Street newsletter. If you want to receive the free financial newsletter, if you type !NEWS or news in the chat, you can just punch your email in and it'll send you the newsletter. But I think that we are going to continue to have a semiconductor super cycle. So what I mean by that is I think you're going to still have very strong demand for semiconductors and chips. especially in the electric vehicle, autonomous vehicle space. And an interesting statistic, if anybody didn't know, in the average electric vehicle, there's 2,000 chips in one electric vehicle. That is nearly double the amount of chips used for non-EVs. And President Joe Biden actually just came out and said that by 2030, he wants all the vehicles, or half of all the vehicles produced in the United States, to be EVs by 2030. Hey, Robin says, what are your thoughts on the housing market in 2022? I realize that's a broad question, but any predictions? Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. That was actually the topic of tonight's stream, Robin, because a very interesting piece of data came out. The S&P CORELOGIC CASE-SHILLER index reported a 19.1% annualized increase in the price of homes year over year in October, which I think was the fourth largest increase ever since S&P Global has been recording data more than 32 years ago. So if you want to check out that article, well, it's not an article, it's actually the study by S&P Global. If you type !homes, HOMES in the chat, I actually dropped the link to the PDF from S&P Global where it talks about the forecast for housing prices in the United States going into 2022. But I think you're going to see demand be extremely strong for single-family homes in 2022 because, number one, interest rates remain extremely low. I believe the last time I checked, the average interest rate on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was 3.01%. Think about how crazy that is. You could buy a house essentially with free money, right? Because if the CPI is running at about 6.8%, and you can borrow money at 3%, factoring in inflation, it's pretty much free. So I think interest rates are going to remain low and supply is going to remain low. So I think housing prices are going to continue to go up. Yeah, Sarah G says, I feel after the pandemic, demand will rise too. Soho guy is here. What's up, Soho? Good to see you as always. David M says, good evening, Tom. Read your newsletter. Thanks for that hookup. No problem. Yeah, I wish housing prices would come down. But in order for that to happen, the Federal Reserve needs to raise interest rates. So the rule of thumb is that for every 1 percentage point interest rates go up, there's a 10% correction in the price of homes. Shop by Scott says, the city looks extra crisp tonight. Thank you, Scott. So I believe Ernst & Young is in here, which is a major consulting company. Hey, Chris is here. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. Sally says, beautiful view, Tom. Juan Suarez. What's going on, Juan Suarez? Robin says, investors are taking boatloads of single-family homes, too. Yeah, so that has been one big criticism, because if we think about it, Robin, to your point, I believe Zillow had to list about, 14,000 single-family homes on the market because they lost a bunch of money in their iBuying scheme. But the thing is, a lot of people were calling for a housing crash because Zillow was going to list, 14,000 homes on the market. That's not how it works. When a big company like Zillow has to take a loss of $500 million on homes, that just gets collateralized and sold off to Wall Street. So they don't sell, it's not like they're selling individual homes to people like you and me. You know, they're selling it to, you know, big private equity firms, venture capital firms, and big real estate investment trusts. You know, they're not selling, it's not like they're selling it to Joe Schmo or me. EBITDA says, I think Zillow stock will get killed in 2022. Well, I think it's already gotten killed. Isn't it down like 70%? So this is Citrovia here. Hey, Edson is here. What's up, Edson? Good to see you. Judy Deese is so pretty. Good to see you, Judy. Yeah, Sarah G says Zillow isn't good. I agree. I'm glad that they took a big hit. Ed Dunkel, good to see you. Juan. Kevin Lee says, is this One World Trade Center? No, we are near Hudson Yards, so this is 1 Manhattan West. Mimi says, hello, what do you think about the Buffett indicators above 200%? Buffett himself thinks 120 is dangerous. Buffett is sitting on a lot of cash, says Mimi. Yeah, I think I do take that into consideration, but we have to understand that we are in an environment where the Federal Reserve is going to continue to buy U.S. Treasuries, going to continue to buy mortgage-backed securities, and they're going to continue to leave interest rates extremely low. So in that type of environment, what you usually have is a multiple expansion where stocks tend to trade at very high premiums. But I definitely do take that into consideration, Mimi. Hey, Solo is here. What's up, Solo 401? The one and only. Good to see you, Solo. Kenneth says, Tom, you're going to be in New York for New Year's Eve. We will be in New York for New Year's Eve. So we may hit a patch of very windiness, so I apologize in advance. Robin says, is better going to take a nosedive now or CEO behaves issue, says Robin. Could you rephrase that? Edson says, click the like. Thank you, Edson. If you're enjoying this live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. EBITDA says, I know you'll love the book, Tom. Ooh, what book? Let me see. Ah, Black Edge. Let me take a screenshot of that. So EBITDA is recommending the book Black Edge. Solo 401 says, how are you, Tom? I'm doing really good. Today was a busier day than I had expected at work, but it's a very good day nonetheless. Jeff says, what is the temperature now? I think it's about 45 degrees here in Manhattan, if I'm not mistaken. So here you could see the edge. So this big triangular looking building is the big observatory at the Hudson Yards called the Edge. And does anybody know what time it is? If we could do a quick time check in the chat. So I did hear about that. So Robin, I did hear about that. I'm not too sure I have an opinion on that. But I did hear they fired a bunch of people over Zoom, which was a bit harsh, I get. $9.50, thank you everybody, appreciate it. Gabriel Laurie says it's time for you to buy a watch. I know. I have to get a watch. Hey, Pablo says hi from Chile. Welcome everybody from Chile. Karina Thompson is here. Says hello, Tom. Happy holidays. Thank you, Karina. I hope you're well. well, Karina. So here we are at the shops at shops at Hudson Yards. Yeah, why don't we get an Apple Watch? I know. We're gonna take a shortcut inside because it's like a wind tunnel over there. And I don't want you guys to get a lot of wind noise in the mic. Hey, Neg is here, says hello, Tom. What's up, Neg? Good to see you as always. Judy says, wow, it's golden. James is glad I live in my 1-bedroom condo and a lot cheaper than having a house. This is James Davidson. I think you have a point, but I think there's a lot of ways you could actually monetize your home in some ways, but I respect the opinion. Good to see you, James. Dan says, do you think swing trading can be profitable? Yeah, I mean, I think that over longer term time horizons, usually, every hedge fund there is, technically, I would consider like a swing trade anywhere between, 6 weeks to 2 years. I know that's very broad, but that's sort of what my definition probably would be. And that's sort of right where I am. That's sort of how I manage my actively managed long-short portfolio at Interactive Brokers. So Dan, if you want to watch an interesting interview, one of my really good friends, Jim Ropel, he runs Ropel Capital Management out of Chicago, Illinois. And he just made an appearance on Investors Business Daily podcast, Investing with IBD. So if you want to YouTube that podcast, if you just type in Jim Ropel, Investors Business Daily, he's a hedge fund manager that trades on that time frame, and he gives a lot of good advice. So he was formerly, I think he used to work at Morgan Stanley for I think about 10 years or 15 years, and then broke off to open up his own hedge fund. So he's an ex-Morgan Stanley guy, good friend of mine. Yeah, EBITDA says, I'll take the equity in my home all day over renting. Yeah, EBITDA, I think you're right, especially because when you build equity and when you accumulate assets, you can then borrow against those assets and collateralize them. Hey, Cheryl's here, says, so Tom, do you only use brokers for your stocks or do you buy online? Yeah, so I mean, these are online broker dealers, right? So Interactive Brokers, Charles Schwab, everything is pretty much online now. So it's not like I don't actually pick up the phone and call in these trades. No, I don't think anybody does that anymore. I think the vast majority of trading activity on Wall Street is all algorithmic now. Yeah, Dan, so I think I programmed it into the Nightbot, but if you want, I'm not sure if you have a Twitter, but if you go to my Twitter page, I think I pinned the interview with Jim Ropel right there. But yeah, he's an ex-Morgan Stanley guy, really knowledgeable. Yeah, Ed Dunkel says, accept houses in Flint, Michigan. That's funny, but it's also horrible. Hey, Valentina says, amazing Christmas lights. Good to see you, Valentina. So everybody, we are here at the shops at the Hudson Yards. Gabriel Laurie says, does Madison Square Garden still have a bowling alley? I'm actually not sure about that. Ken says Flint is a contrarian investment. Hey, Jet Life says, Tom, how do you feel about New York City making brokers illegal renting? I didn't hear about that. Hey, Philip says, have you been on any R32 retirement runs? I have not. Yeah, Jet Life says having an elevator straight to your condo is worth it. Davi says, good night from Brazil. Robin says, smooth stream GoPro or DJI. So I just have an iPhone 11. We're streaming on an iPhone 11. Elon Musk says, in JP Morgan are all the old dogs. Cheryl, yeah. So you're asking if I use sites like Robinhood? No, I would never. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of those, like the Robinhoods of the world. I'm not a fan of the Weebles. I think they encourage inappropriate investing practices. I think they're quite predatory. So I would not trust those type of brokers with my money. But that's only my opinion, right? That's only my opinion. Hey, Sammy Bazies is Hudson Yards, lovely mall. I love it. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you too. Ibitis says, get that new Patek Tiffany watch. Kevin Lee says, is the vessel open to the public now? So I'm not sure about that. Does anybody know if the vessel is open to the public? I think it's closed, and I actually think that they may take it down due to all of the unfortunate events that have been taking place at the vessel. I think they may take it down entirely, which is not the greatest news to hear, but maybe the most necessary. EBITDA says, Tom, I would say anyone with a pulse and brain wouldn't trust Robinhood. Yeah, I mean, the thing with me is, like, brokers now, they all do the same thing, right? But in my opinion, I just think that they're trying to gamify investing. And I think it's really dangerous, especially because people work hard for their money, right? And people are gambling in very high leverage derivative products on Robinhood and Webull. And they think it's a joke, and it's funny, but it's not funny when you lose all your money and you get margin called and you owe your broker dealer hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, Dan says I've been using Thinkorswim. Yeah, Thinkorswim is a good options trading platform. Oh, check out this bird. BitMags TV says, I use eToro. It's a great platform to invest in stocks. Interesting. I've never heard of it before, but good to see you. Shop by Scott says, day trading real estate seems like a fascinating, excitingly idea. That's fun. You know what I am bullish on, though? I am bullish on a particular platform that will allow increased liquidity in real estate, because there's actually a very interesting and sort of sad yet funny fact about real estate. And the only reason why the vast majority of people make money in real estate is because it's very illiquid. So the asset is very illiquid, which means liquidity just means, like, how easy is it to be converted into cash, right? So in Finance 101, if anybody took like finance in college, if you look at a balance sheet, your balance sheet is an order of liquidity, right? So you'll have your cash, you'll have your securities, you'll have, your property, plant, and equipment. And the further down you go on the balance sheet, the less liquid your assets become. So the reason why the vast majority of people make money in real estate is because they hold it for very long periods of time. Because during market downturns, it's very difficult to panic sell your real estate. But for stocks, it's so liquid. If the stock market goes down 20 or 30%, you have everybody running to their brokerage accounts trying to dump a bunch of stocks. And that usually means they're selling right at the bottom. So pretty interesting, but pretty funny. Mimi says, I have some REITs, real estate investment trusts, in my retirement account, very liquid. Yeah, so REITs, stocks, REITs, real estate investment trusts are definitely liquid. Julie says, hello, how I miss New York City from Paris, France. Yes, EBITDA, the 1031 exchange. Andrea says it's called a REIT. Yes, real estate investment trust. Elon Musk, I have not had Chinese Peruvian food, but maybe I will try it. So we are at the shops at the shops at Hudson Yards. Yeah, Judy D says very tastefully done. Indeed it is. Yeah, Mimi says you have medical REITs, storage REITs, and cell tower REITs. Yeah, so I think the best performing REITs or real estate investment trusts have been all of the cloud and data center REITs. So like something like Equinix that leases space to Amazon, AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. So I think if I was ever to buy a REIT, I would probably stick with the data centers. Hey, Pat Waters Vlog says sometime in 2022, I heard from reputable sources from FDNY the vessel will be disassembled. Yeah, so I heard that too. Unfortunately, there was a lot of, not so positive things going on at the vessel. So unfortunately, they may have to take it down, but Shot by Scott says new game. Spot the burnt out Christmas light. Yeah, Cosmo Scary says, no, I love the vessel. Yeah, Cosmo, do you know that? I didn't hear, I heard that from people in the chat, but I didn't hear it from like any news source. But I believe everybody, but I'm not sure. Hey, Georgie says, hey, how are you doing tonight, Tom? I'm doing very well. Skip, you are correct. Lost in the Curve says, isn't the 1031 exchange a merry-go-round you can never get off of? Constant deferment of capital gains. Yeah, but I think if you, let's say if you were, you're a real estate investor where you're banking on making money off the cash flows, I think it's a good idea. So, for example, there's a lot of big real estate investors that specialize in multifamily apartment buildings. So if you're buying, 250 to 500 units in one bulk chunk and you sell, $150 million piece of real estate, you know, you could just roll that over forever because you're banking more on the cash flows of that property as opposed to the capital appreciation. But in a way, you're right. Team 7. Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I think that they just put these up. This place looks beautiful here. Horatio Snipes says, Tom, we love your streams, bro. You rock. You rock, Horatio. Appreciate it. So we'll head down the stairs now here, and we'll take a little walk around the vessel before they take it down, allegedly. Or maybe I'll play you guys a little bit of a song on the piano. I'll put the gimbal down and I'll play you guys one song. Nah, just kidding. We'll do that another day. Hey, NNB045 says the shiny floors make the place very elegant. Thank you, Tom. Beautiful place. Hope you had a good day today. Cosmo. Oh, so Cosmo, on the channel, I think starting next year, I'm going to make one continuous live stream that has all of the stock tickers that I look at, all of the commodities tickers, all of the futures tickers, the currencies I look at, and it'll be a 24/7 continuous live stream for people that want to stop by the channel and talk in the chat about getting a career in tech or investment banking. So it'll be sort of like a networking opportunity. You could sort of just have it up and chill. And I'll also be posting all of my skateboarding videos that I've taken in New York City, and I'll post it up on a continuous live stream for the people that like to hear the noise of my skateboard, because we haven't been doing as many skateboarding live streams as I'd like. Yeah, Nick Jones says, are they taking the vessel down? So we were just talking about that, Nick. I think that they may. I haven't heard anything from like a news source, but we have heard from a lot of people in the chat that they may take the vessel down due to the unfortunate suicides and things like that that has been happening. I think that they should just put the entire thing in glass so nobody can jump off the tower. I don't think you need to take it down, but I totally understand if they do take it down, because unfortunately it has been known for a place to do that stuff. Mad Mars, is this place open all night? I'm actually not sure about that. Nicole says, I've only seen one skateboard live from you. We gotta start them back up very soon in the new year, I promise. Yeah, Western Mass Daves is very sad about the vessel. More attention is being directed to mental health issues, some brought about by the pandemic. This is Western Mass Dave. Hey, Sally says, Tom, I am finally awake and not falling asleep. Good to see you. Hey, Out and About is here. What's up, Out and About? Out and About is our moderator from Toronto, Canada. It's always good to see you, Out and About. Hope you had a good Christmas. Jared says, can the ticker overlay the skate video? Actually, I could probably program that. Flavio says, hi, Tom. What's up, Flavio? Good to see you. EBITDA says, Tom, have you ever thought about interviewing people from different industries? Investment banking, tech, management consulting would be some great content. Yeah, so I'm actually setting up some of that stuff for next year. I have a couple of buddies that are hedge fund managers. I wanted to get them on the show, but I think I may create a second channel for that. But yes, I want to create an environment where I interview some of my friends that are enterprise account executives at major software companies, because I get a lot of emails from people that ask me what is the best way to break into tech sales or software sales. So if I can provide maybe interviews or podcasts with people who work in tech or work in Silicon Valley, I think it would be quite helpful. So maybe we'll do that next year on a different channel. Or on this one. Hey, Hassan B says, hey, Tom, how you doing? Good to see you, Hassan. Nice guy. Says, good evening, everybody. So here's the vessel. The vessel at the Hudson Yards. Out and About, how's the weather like in Canada? So this is the brand new Equinox Hotel. Yes, the gym Equinox has a hotel in this building. Dino says the vessel charged $10 admission when it was open. Is that true? Was it really $10? For some reason I thought it was more than that, Dino. I'm not sure why. Sweet Dreams 777 says gorgeous hotel. Supposedly it's almost like $500 a night. Hey Hey, it's somebody's birthday, so happy birthday. All right, happy birthday. Very cool. EBITDA says they have a hotel. It seems weird. Yeah, so EBITDA, this is the hotel. So the Equinox Hotel, and it's really crazy. I think there's actually some YouTube videos. But the hotel is all themed around the gym. Ken says amazing place. NNB45 says, I think you'll do great on the interviews, Tom. I'm sure you can beat Max Kaiser's viewership. So maybe we'll get Max on one of these days. He's a nut, but I love Max. Max Kaiser was one of the first investors in Bitcoin, and he has a great podcast, Orange Pill Podcast by Max Kaiser. And so here we are outside of the vessel. Hey, Robin says it seems pretty crowded there tonight. Is that how it feels? So I think we were here 2 nights ago and it was way more crowded. But I think the city in general is more crowded for the holidays. And I think after New Year's, things should die back down. What do you think? Robin, when you walk around, is there a lot more people? What do you think? Hey, Brandy says, my son Tyrese says, hi, Tom, and his birthday is also tomorrow. He is 14 years young. Wow. Well, happy birthday. 14 is a great year. 14 is, I think, probably one of the best years you could turn. 13 is all right. 14 is, you know, when you really start making things happen. So happy birthday. MB says, is the vessel decorated for Christmas or is it lit up all year round? I think it's just the Christmas lights are on there. So here's what I propose for the vessel. Instead of taking it down, these spaces right here, they should just put up either nets or glass over the entire thing. NNB045 says, Tom, you were asking earlier about current weather in Canada. Montreal is negative 3 degrees Celsius. It was negative 16 degrees Celsius a few days ago. See, I don't know if I could ever do that. I think that's a little bit too brutal for me. Yeah, photos from around New York says I agree. Just put plexiglass. Hey, we got Lou. Hey, Lou72 is here. Good to see you, Lou72. Always a pleasure. Lou Rodriguez says hello. How are you? I'm doing very well. MB says, wait, I just joined the chat. What's happening with the vessel? So we're speculating that they may take it down. Due to the unfortunate number of suicides, which I totally understand. It is horrible, but I think that they should just put plexiglass or like a net around it. I respect the decision if they take it down or not. I think I tend to respect it. Lou72, good to see you as always. MB says interesting. Thanks, Tom. No problem. Hey, Ron says, Tom, thank you for the great stream. No problem, Ron. So this is the very front of the shops at the Columbus Circle. Columbus Circle. I keep saying Columbus Circle. Hudson Yards. Lewis says, how do I know this is live? I guess we'll never find out. Yeah, it seems like everybody in the chat doesn't want it to be taken down, but unfortunately, I think it will. But we'll see. You know, we'll have to see. Hey, San DRO says, hey, bro, good to see you live again. Good evening to you. Good evening to you as well. Sweet Dream 777 says, live it is, an awesome streaming. Thank you. So we're going to head back to the Moynihan train station now. Chris Beeman says, sure looks pretty. I live in Phoenix, but I also am from Chicago. Miss the big city. So we were actually just talking about Phoenix, Arizona tonight. So Phoenix, Arizona is the #1 fastest growing housing market in terms of price in the United States. We had the S&P Core CASE-SHILLer Index reported 19.1% annualized increase year over year in October. And the fastest growing prices for single family homes, the #1 market was in Phoenix, Arizona, followed by Tampa, Florida, and Miami. Very close on the list was San Diego, California. Hey, Dante Rose says, hey, Tom, I hope you're doing good, but it's just me that thinking most of the world's leaders make some stupid plans. I agree. TYC says, love New York City infrastructure. I tend to like it as well. Hey, Alex is here, says, what did you do for Christmas? I just sort of hung out with the family, you know, here in New York. What about you, Alex? Flexstream loves Flint, Michigan. Hey, Chris says, yeah, it's growing big time in the suburbs too. Thank you for the shout out. No problem, Chris. Always good to see you. Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, extremely low inventory levels as well as artificially low interest rates are really driving this housing market. San DRO says, awesome streaming. Doesn't it get tiring after a while? Or are you using a stick or a gimbal to hold up the time? So I'm using a gimbal, but the time really flies when we stream because we always talk about a specific topic every day. And I always say I'm going to stream for an hour and then it turns into 3. Horatio says, Flint, Michigan, you're kidding me. Mad Mars says, thanks for the stream. Now I know where to go when I visit New York. Hopefully I visit New York soon. Dante Rose, hope you have a happy new year. Hey, Lady O is here. Our moderator from the Garden State in New Jersey. Happy New Year, Lady O. Lady O, any plans for the new year? You doing anything fun for New Year's Eve? So I really like the sign of the New Yorker Hotel right there. Looks pretty cool. San Dioros, all good, bro. Thank you for the reply. Karina Thompson, good to see you. Yes, Gabriel Laurie, we are walking eastbound now. Horatio Snipes, I will be in New York City for New Year's. I'm going to check out Gerald Salente's interview, NNB05. If you want to drop it in the chat, I think that would be helpful to everybody. If you want to drop the Gerald Salente interview link in the chat. Hey, we got Sam here from Toronto. What's up, Sam? Says you could take the boy out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the boy. Tom, what's up? What's going on, Sam? Good to see you. Ah, very cool, Lady O. Keeping the gathering small, watching Dick Clark's countdown. That's awesome. Hey, Roy S. says, Tom, interesting take in your latest newsletter on the labor shortage. Seems it is time for the employee to ask for more salary. Yeah, I think you should ask for the raise or try to get a promotion while the getting is good. Although we did have an interesting piece of news come out from Apple today that Apple is paying their software engineers upwards of $180,000 as a one-time bonus if they stay on as software engineers for 2 years and don't go work for Meta platforms. So imagine that. If you work at Apple and you're a software engineer, many of them are getting bonuses of $180,000 just to keep them as employees. Hey, Chris says apparently folks from Chicago in the Midwest are flocking to Arizona. It is a big culture shock when you move here from the Midwest. Cali folks as well, changing grand old party state to Democrat. Interesting. Yeah, I think for the first time ever, New York State's population dropped below 20 million people. I think for the first time ever. Which is sad to see, you know, it is. It kind of sucks. Yes, B&H on the left. This is a very famous electronics store here in New York City, B&H. Yeah, Dante Rose says, Tom, you never know if Elon Musk might be in the chat. Maybe you are Elon Musk under a screen name. Guzman says, good to see you, Tom. Alex says, what time is it there now? That's actually a good question. Does anybody know what time it is? I think we're right on time for the train. Hey, YouTuber is here, so it's 10:30. So if you look to your right, it is the brand new Moynihan train station. Andreas is train to Greenwich, Connecticut. Yeah, maybe we'll have to take the train to Greenwich, Connecticut and see our very good friend, Ray Dalio. Gabriel Laurie says New York has the worst politician. That's why people are leaving. It's a possibility. Photos from around New York says, I feel like Elon Musk would watch this. Hopefully he's watching. Dante Rose says Barbados has re-elections coming up very soon. Wow, Shot by Scott says, I heard a guy here in Miami tell somebody, I live in New York, but I'm a tax resident here. Whew. You can get in big trouble. So check out this view of the Empire, beautiful. Ken says the post office is no longer there. So the post office is still operable, but it is just smaller than before. Yeah, I think so. Dalio is in Westport, isn't he? But I think he has a residence in Greenwich. No, EBITDA, I wish I was family friends with Ray Dalio. I was just trolling. Dino says New York and New Jersey, quite possibly worst state for retirement. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine retiring and then you own a house on Long Island where your property taxes are like $20,000 a year? I think that's not fair. I think New York should pass a law that says if you're retired, you shouldn't have to pay egregious property taxes. Hey, Aaron says, hello, Tom and everybody. Good to see you, Aaron. Aaron Prill. Crowd says, does anybody know why the Empire State Building is this color? I'm actually not sure. We were trying to speculate. And I think the best we could do is that it is that color because of a candy cane. Hey, everybody, we got Daniel G in the house. Daniel G is joining us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. What's up, Daniel? EBITDA says, I was going to say small world. My dad has gone golfing with him. EBITDA, if you're ever in Miami, you got to hit me up. We'll go golfing. Normandy Shores. Ken says, I love Long Island. Moved there from Queens 17 years ago. Well, I'm from Massapequa, South Shore, Long Island. Elon Musk says, Tom, how old are you? I'm 26. 26 years old. Well, Ray Dalio actually just did an egregious interview where he said some things that I didn't like at all, but we'll have to revisit that later. Oh, Ken, you live in Melville. So, Ken, I used to have an office off of the North Service Road, 395 North Service Road in the JP Morgan building. I used to have an office right there. Right there in Melville, off of the North Service Road. And right there in Melville is actually my favorite pizza shop in the entire world. It's called La Focaccia. La Focaccia is by far, hands down, the best pizza in New York. You got to travel all the way to Long Island to get it, but it is by far, not even a competition, the best pizza spot on planet Earth. La Focaccia in Melville. Hey, Coolon 516 says I'm also from South Shore, Nassau County. Pretty decent. Hey, what's going on? Tom in Bowling Alley in Madison Square Garden. I'm not sure. I never even knew that there was a bowling alley here. Sweet Dreams 777. This is Tom. You have an American Italian accent. Lou Rodriguez. What's going on, Lou? Yeah, so I'm not sure how to spell the pizza joint, but it is a great pizza spot. Dino says there used to be a bowling alley in the Port Authority. I think the Port Authority bus terminal is probably the worst place in the tri-state area. Yeah, Ken says Canon, the camera company, has its headquarters in Melville. Yeah, so that's right off the highway there, right next to the Ferrari dealership. Yeah, Cool On says, I think I remember all the stops on the Babylon line. I think it's Jamaica, Rockville Center, Baldwin, Freeport, Belmore, Wantagh, Seaford, Massapequa Park, Amityville, Copeg, Lindenhurst, and Babylon. Our pal Billy Joel, good to see you, pal. Hey, Miss Meow Meow says hi, all watching from Scotland. Welcome everybody from Scotland, good to see you. Yeah, Cool On says, yep, that's it. I think I may have missed Valley Stream because it depends on if the train is peak or off peak. If it's off peak, I think it doesn't stop at Valley Stream. Alex says, are the street hot dogs overrated? I would never go near those things, in my opinion. Hey, Andy is here. I think from Korea. It says, good evening, Tom. Good evening. Good to see you. And this is the very famous Trax Oyster Bar. This actually used to be inside the station. Hi from Romania in Europe. Welcome everybody from Romania. Alex says, are there any live streamers you watch? I pretty much watch everybody's live streams. 819 says, now do the Ronkonkoma line. I've never even I don't think I've ever taken the Ronkonkoma line before. But yeah, I can only do the Babylon line, unfortunately. So here's the worst, everybody. So I used to take the Long Island Railroad home from college, and I used to fall asleep, and the worst feeling is when you fall asleep and the conductor is banging on your seat with the flashlight and he's like, hey pal, you got to wake up, we're in Babylon. And that's just when you just want to die. You're like, oh my god, I fell asleep and now I'm in freaking Babylon. Good times. Yeah, Gabriel Laurie says dirty water dogs, as they call them. Horrible. Hey, Chris says, Tom, I am so glad to see New York City recovering from all the hoopla. Agreed. Claude says, Tom, how many other pizzas are you comparing La Focaccia to? Every single one of them. Andrea says, where did you go to college? I went to a CUNY school in the City University in New York called John Jay College of Criminal Justice. But everybody, it appears that we will end the stream because the phone is on 10% battery, but I appreciate everybody who joined in the stream today. I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow. Make it a strong week. Have a great Wednesday. We'll be watching to see the stock market action for tomorrow. On Monday, we had new all-time record highs for the S&P 500. We sold off a little bit today on lower than expected volume. But we'll see if we can turn right around and rip back to those record highs to complete the Santa Claus rally towards the end of the year. So if you enjoyed this live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see everybody right back here tomorrow. You know what? I'll leave you guys off with a view of the Empire State Building. We can't end the stream if I'm just going to leave you guys off with the horrible view of the Hotel Pennsylvania. I can't do that. Hey, War Walker, what's up, man? War Walker is our pal from the 305 Miami. Good to see you, War Walker. Always good to see you. Hey, Jackie M, what's up? Hope you had a Merry Christmas, Jackie M. Good to see you. And I wish you a very Happy New Year. So good night, everybody. And good night to the mighty bull wherever you are, because there is always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one.